Jonathan, pronouns he, him, calling him from Colorado, wants to ask how we decide with whom to argue and debate in real life outside of the show, but I'm going to extend it to this show as well. Jonathan, you are on the air. How are you doing today?
Hey, doing pretty good. Yeah, pretty much just that. What is your criteria to, obviously not your MAGA uncle, but, how do you decide who to interact with in this kind of theological space?
Yeah. I would say it's the same thing for me as it is for everybody else, is how productive is the conversation going to be? So my background is in education. I was an informal educator for like 10 years or so. Even now, the main bulk of my work is a science communicator, is to try to educate. And so I'm always thinking, whenever I teach anything, whenever I have any discussion, whenever I'm having a phone call on a show like this, even, I'm thinking, who am I really talking to and what is the goal of this conversation? So if we have a theist call in and have some ridiculous, asinine, crazy argument, it's very likely that I'm not going to get through to them. Maybe I will, but if it's very clear that I'm not, then who am I actually talking to is the people listening in the audience, the theists who are maybe on the fence, the people who aren't quite sure, aren't quite convinced yet, the people who are questioning their faith, the people who are questioning the necessity of a religious model. Those are the people that I'm actually talking to. And the end goal that I'm trying to get at is to help these people free themselves from this oppressive kind of thinking, this restrictive heuristics of religion that, pull people back into the Stone Age in a lot of ways. So that's my actual goal when I'm doing that. If somebody tells you that you're not going to change their mind, you need to believe them. And there comes a certain point where you can either decide to risk pushing this person further away, which doesn't really matter because they're already decided that they're going to be maligned to everything you're saying. But you could end up bringing in a lot of other people in the process, and that's also worth it. But if you're just going to be sitting there in a private conversation, spinning your wheels with somebody who has already told you that you're not going to convince them in anything, then it's absolutely not worth it. But yeah, that's how I decide. Whenever whether it be here or elsewhere, the questions that I'm always asking is, who am I actually talking to? And what is the goal of this conversation for me? Am I actually talking to this person? If so, what am I trying to get out of it? Am I trying to convince somebody else? Am I trying to convince this person? Am I trying to, make a difference in the way that they're thinking? Am I trying to convince them of a proposition? Am I trying to, what's the goal that I'm getting at? And who is the actual intended audience? Those are the things that guide whether or not I decide to have an argument with somebody or a discussion with somebody.
And I would also add, there are certain discussions, even if they may be internally fruitless, that are worth having because it's the right thing to do. I will always debate someone who is going to be coming across with retrograde or bigoted talking points if I feel that I can talk to them. And maybe I'm not going to change their mind. But I am a proponent of the thought that evil flourishes through the inaction of good people. So even if it's not going to convince them to stop being a dick, it's a fight worth having. It's a conversation worth having. Not necessarily a pleasant one, but I just can't let certain things lie if they are laid before me and I have the opportunity and I feel the responsibility to put someone in place, tell them when I feel that they're wrong and why, and come at it from a place of demonstrable knowledge and evidence rather than just, I don't think you're right because I feel you're wrong, that kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that really falls into the second part of it. What's the actual point? There's something to be said for social pressure and for having someone, even if they have dug in their heels pretty significantly, having a significant amount of disgust and disappointment coming from people that they respect enough to have a conversation with might be enough to shake them out of whatever shitty belief they're dug into. But it is a specific circumstance, and I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah. Anyway, Jonathan, does that answer your questions?
Yeah, for the most part, two kind of very different answers. I will weigh those out going forward. So thank you guys so much. Nice talking to you.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, Jonathan.